All right, so this evolution of training, if you will, is going to be about stress management and meditation. So our big buzzword is anxiety, right? Everybody knows we have a real anxiety problem in our country, which perpetuated by a lot of things. However, I gave you a couple of sheets, 2 pages. I'll gloss over it briefly, and I want you guys to ask questions as we go. When we're done with this kind of education piece, we're going to actually engage in a practice. So, the buzzword anxiety has been thrown around real flippantly for the last decade, and it has been used to describe any feelings of discomfort because it's a buzzword. Everything is anxiety. There might be some truth, but generally speaking, not everything you feel is anxiety, okay? So when it comes to anxiety, there are a couple of things that can assist you in reducing that. I, for one, have to delete certain games from my cell phone because I think about them all day long. And that's one strategy. The next one is just the cell phone as a whole. How often do you check it? Now, if you're like me, you check it probably at least once an hour, sometimes more. Yeah, for those of you that have iPhone, or if you have an Android equivalent to this, there is a bedtime setting for your phone. Use it. You can always turn it off, but use it. What's going to happen is it's not going to register the notifications via audio or vibration during the times you have designated as your sleep. It's been an absolute game changer for me, because if the phone would ding, if I was in deep sleep, I would automatically come up to light sleep to listen and pay attention. If any of you are doing that, sleep deprivation causes anxiety. Not getting enough deep sleep, not getting enough light sleep. How would you guys feel if you had to turn your phone off for a full day? Does that elicit panic for anybody else? Because it does for me.
It does. It depends if I'm with someone.
If you're with someone or not. So you might not check it as much when you're with someone. I went on a 3-day backpacking trip. I kept feeling my phone vibrate in my pocket. It was off. It was in a backpack, in a waterproof case, was not on, and I could feel it vibrating. Now I generally keep my phone in my back pocket. Now I can feel my butt vibrating. Even when the phone's not there. Was that my phone? No, it wasn't my phone. So you can see how this, kind of like when we're working with the dogs, this hyper alertness, it's not good. So anxiety specifically is defined a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event, like your phone vibrating, or something with an uncertain outcome. I don't know if I'm going to get kicked out of class today. I got kicked out of class a lot when I was in college because I've got a mouth on me. Causes of anxiety, especially for you students: tests, projects, going to the dentist, grades, sporting events, anything that you don't have control over realistically. The effects of anxiety can be rapid heart rate, increased blood pressure, nausea, blurred vision, pressured speech, dizziness. Anxiety does not look the same for everybody. Each one of you is going to experience anxiety in a different way. And generally, only you're going to be able to tell that it's anxiety specifically.
What is pressured speech?
Pressured speech might sound like this because you're not really entirely sure what to say, but it's kind of like you want to get the words out, but you can't get them out fast enough.
Yes.
Pressured speech.
Agreed.
Yep, absolutely. Get in a little bit to the stress response. Our bodies have a set of neurobiological responses to stressors that have been essential to our survival as a species. Fight, flight, freeze. Everybody know those? Okay. However, if this response is prolonged, the consequences are far more damaging than any actual or perceived threat that occurs with any regularity in our modern world. What I mean by that is keeping yourself in this type of state hardwires, builds better pathways to feeling anxious going forward. Your brain wants to find the shortest path of resistance to get from from a stimuli to understanding, which means if you are chronically anxious, your brain is going to build super highways to anxiety, which means something that didn't make you anxious before could actually make you anxious, because that's the fastest way for your brain to go from stimulated to response. It's okay. We can fix it. For those of you that are stress monsters, we can fix it. We fix this, or we start to fix this, with mindfulness. And I have a definition here for you. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations, used as a therapeutic technique. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to open ourselves up to whatever is going on around us. We're going to accept the fact that it's going on around us, and we are not going to pay attention to it. It gets an acknowledgement and then is let go. Now, all kinds of things are going to run through your mind when you're doing this. Whatever it is, it's okay. You will get distracted from this meditation. That's where everybody starts. That's where you're going to start. But by acknowledging that you've been distracted and bringing it back, bringing your attention back to the focus, that's the good practice. So you might think to yourself, damn, I just got distracted again. What is wrong with me? No. Hey, I just got distracted. I noticed it. I'm going to bring myself back to focus. That's the practice. That's what's supposed to happen. And what you'll find is that you are less and less distracted as what we call in the biz the focus muscle gets stronger. Now you can focus on a lot of different things, and I'm going to give everybody a handful of options. For our first practice today, we're going to work on 2 of the 3 exercises that I have on here. The first one is going to be grounding, being able to identify the exact space and time in which an individual is currently in. I know I'm right here, right now. Being a type of mindfulness, a person will experience all the same benefits as mindfulness, grounding. It can be used with service dogs like a check-in. Since, we do dogs here, I should bring dogs in at some point. He's over here. He's begging for his toy. I ask Larson for a look when I want his attention. His focus gets on me, and then I can issue a command when he's distracted, asking for that focus, practicing that focus muscle. The other one is the belly breathing, and this one we're all going to work together on. Belly breathing is taking a breath, utilizing one's diaphragm, which is not here. Your diaphragm is here. Okay? Now, oddly enough, when you take a chest breath, you actually have to activate the muscles in your chest, which uses oxygen in your body to activate the muscles. When you breathe with the diaphragm, it uses no oxygen. Now, if you'll notice, I'm going to make myself look fat here for a minute. When you take a belly breath, you breathe from here. My chest doesn't rise, but I look a little pregnant. I'll have to cut that from the tape because right now my wife's pregnant. She'd kill me for saying that. This is shown to increase the amount of oxygen that flows to the brain and reduce the amount of carbon dioxide that resides in the lungs. Now, the fun thing about that is an excess of carbon dioxide in the lungs creates an automatic stress response. So for you shallow breathers, you're actually causing a bit of anxiety for yourself. Your body's natural anxiety. You don't want that carbon buildup. Have you ever done something really stressful and gotten in the car and the first thing you do is, you are literally trying to shoot carbon dioxide out of your lungs. Also, fun fact and a slight tangent. Does anybody here know how you lose weight?
Many ways.
Breathing. You lose biomass through your lungs. Carbon dioxide is what is expelled. You breathe in air and you breathe out C, carbon, O2 dioxide. So every time you take those really, really deep breaths, you get all of that carbon dioxide up and out, you're actually losing weight. So for the purposes of practice, I want everybody to take their hands, put them on their belly, and I want you to take a long, deep breath, but I want it from here, so you should feel the rise. So you just go.
Go through the nose.
Now you might feel different things as you do this. I generally feel tightness in my chest, but that's because it was chest day at the gym. But when you are here, touching your stomach, that rise and fall can be your focus point. Okay? We're generally going to be wanting to focus on our breath, but for those of you that get particularly distracted, I brought some oils that we can use as well. I know you like the oils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pass these around.
Yeah, you better start on that side of the room.
Yeah, well, every line's going to get one, otherwise it'll take forever.
Or are they all the same?
Hand out. There you go.
Get it. I've trained him.
It's kind of true. It is kind of true. I'm going to start one back here. So if you like it and you'd like a little bit of scent for your meditation, I recommend right here, same on the other side, and then there's a vein right here that produces pretty warm temperatures. Just one side, and call it good. If you like it. If you don't like it, don't use it.
Are they all the same?
No. Every single one of these is different. One is oil for forgiveness. One is an oil for motivation. One is for focus. Actually, I have two in there for focus, but they're two separate blends. One's a thinking blend, and one's a focus blend. And then I also have a calming blend going around. All right. So, guys, up here. All right. So,
Somebody have a pen?
what do you need?
Pen.
Oh, a pen.
That's how kennel cough is passed.
All right, so for the purposes of this exercise, I want you to focus on your breathing. Done? Done? Take 'em. All right, so for the purposes of this exercise, the idea is we want to focus on the breathing. For a good practice, one of the keys is that you want to keep both feet on the ground, flat on the ground. It's going to be easier for some of you tall people than it is for some of us short people.
I can't reach the ground in my wheelchair.
And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a quick scan on the body. I want you to, in fact, let me take the... All right. For those of you that carry a lot of tension in your body, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a quick body scan. So I want you to start at the top of your head, and I want you to see if you can notice any tension.
Touching or just feeling?
Nope, you're just going to sit there. You're going to scan with your mind. You can have your eyes opened or closed. For those of you that don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, feel free to focus on the fish tank up front. I want you to move down from the top of your head into your neck. As you feel your neck, you may feel inclined to go to the left and to the right. You may feel a pop, but I want you to balance your head so that your neck is not tense. Moving down to your shoulders. A lot of people carry tension in their shoulders. You may feel inclined to roll them. That's fine. When you're done moving them, see if there's any additional tension. From your shoulders, I want you to move into your chest. Feel free to adjust. In your chest, I want you to take a deep breath in through a belly breath. Exhale comfortably. From your chest, I want you to focus on your arms. What do you feel in your arms? If you need to adjust, find a more comfortable position. When you're done adjusting, go back to your arms. See if there is anything else you need to work on. Bring your attention back to your chest and into your abdomen. If there's tension there, breathe through. I want you to move down into your legs, to your thighs. Are you carrying any tension there? If you are, take a nice deep breath in and then exhale comfortably. Focusing on your calves, scanning to see if there's any tension that might be lingering. Now we move to the feet. I want you to acknowledge that you can feel your feet on the floor. Acknowledge that your feet are holding you there. If there's any tension, feel free to reposition. Take a deep breath in. Exhale comfortably. For the rest of this practice, I want you to focus on your breath. When you find your mind wandering, acknowledge that it's wandered and bring the focus back to your breath. Bring your focus back to your breath. If you find yourself distracted, bring your focus back to your breath. We'll stay here for 2 more minutes, focusing on your breath. Now I want you to bring your focus back to your feet on the floor. That's what connects you to the ground. Feel your weight in the seat. Move up to your eyes, open them slowly. Deep breath in. Exhale comfortably. And gently come back to reality. Now for the most important part. I'm going to try and only turn on the low light, but I can't ever remember which one it is. Nope, wrong one. There we go. There's the low light. So the most important part of this practice is that it's short. That was might have felt like an hour to some of you. That's okay. It was all of 7 minutes. A very short practice. But again, the most important thing here is, what did you notice? This is where participation comes in. What did you notice?
I'm easily distracted.
Distracted a lot, right?
Yeah.
What did you get distracted by? Alexis.
Oh no, I had a different house.
Talking in the other room.
Oh, I couldn't even hear talking in the room.
I heard the cars. That
Cars.
was like a meditative thing for me.
Exactly.
Things that you have to do.
My mind would start to wander, and then I have to bring it back.
You bring it back. But remember, bringing it back, noticing that it has wandered and bringing it back is the practice. We want to keep focus, but when we don't, the practice is engaged by bringing it back, which means it's good. I mean, it'd be wonderful if we could just stay focused, but American culture does not really allow for that level of focus. So, to practice, we bring it back.
So when I did lose focus, I tried to think about it, to acknowledge it, and then when I did that, it was easier for me to come back. It took twice, but it was easier to come back the second time, and then it just left after the second time.
What stops a lot of people when they get distracted is an automatic negative thought, a thought that they have failed. And I am here to tell you that for a mindfulness meditative practice, you have never failed. The fact that you are working on it means you are, by definition, succeeding. Now, you can do this while you are listening to some bizarre-looking guy with a Band-Aid on his forehead at the front of the class. You can actually meditate on... Yeah, that's me. Sorry. Visual joke. You can actually meditate and use that same focus muscle on someone. You can use it on the sound of a car, the smell of the oils that some of you have on. I can smell at least 3 different oils up here. I have no idea what you guys can smell in that little crowd that you've got there. I can smell 3 different oils up here, and I am only wearing Forgive today. But what else did you find that you were distracted by? Go ahead.
When I did get back into
Yeah.
meditation, I sort of relaxed so much that I slipped in the chair, and then kind of brought me back and had to sit up twice.
Okay.
But I went back to that relaxing.
Was it more comfortable for you in the slouched position versus the sitting up position?
Yes.
Next time, try slouched.
I was
The balance is what you're looking for. If I have meditated on the floor of my living room with my feet up on the couch as I'm laying on the floor, sometimes that's perfect. Here's the fun part. There's no wrong way to do it. If you take the time, it's good practice. There's no wrong way. And that's actually how I learned to do it. Because I thought you were supposed to sit cross-legged with your hands in this funky position. I'm not. This is a mild exaggeration. But I thought there was a right way and a wrong way to do this. There isn't. I'm not saying you should do this while drinking a Red Bull, but if that was your thing, do it. All of this is decaf tea because, in my opinion, you all are hocked up enough on sugar and everything from today. So,
I was taught this as a young girl by my mom, and she would do this with me at night when I would go to bed because I had a hard time sleeping. And so back then I didn't realize what she was doing, but as I got older and I did this in a professional setting, it all came together. But kudos to you. Out of all the times I've done this, this has been the most successful.
good.
I don't know, I guess it's just a safe place here for me.
Well, it should be. You can get distracted.
I did. The car, honestly,
The backfire.
it startled me. I jumped.
The backfire out there from whatever classic car was driving down the road or motorcycle. I don't know what it was, but boy, that got me real quick.
I jumped.
And I thought to myself, well, this is probably a good time to say, bring your focus back to your breath.
Exactly. That was perfect.
I couldn't. Boy, man, I was like, oh, look, that's a noise. And I thought to myself, I bet everybody in here is hearing the exact same thing I am. Let's. But the other key to that is non-judgmental. Like I said, noticing, even if your mind has been distracted for 15 minutes and you notice and bring it back, that's good practice.
I got distracted with falling asleep.
Oh, now, so here's the thing. If you've got a good mindfulness practice, mine happens, I can do it in a chair. It's not nearly as good as if I'm laying on the ground. Now, with laying on the ground, there's a risk that I fall asleep. I have through many years, developed a practice that works exclusively for me. I've never met anybody that meditates quite the way I do. Because in the beginning, they tell you what I've just told you. Body scan, focus on your breath, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, as you play with this, you might try something. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. You have another chance to practice. And that in and of itself is good. You will learn something from what does work. You will learn something from what doesn't. I learned through meditation that I can get about 10 seconds of migraine relief with visualizations. Now I'm telling you, those 10 seconds, so good. Because my migraines are all about pain. But if I can do that, what else can I do? When I meditate, I'm generally on the floor. I like to prop this is weird. So I like to prop my legs up so that generally my legs do this. They fall flat to the floor. I like to prop them up so that they're standing. I don't know why. I tried it once randomly, and it was fantastic. And I thought to myself, well, that's weird. And it is, but it works. So when I have the opportunity, I do. At first, I focus on my breath. And then when I find my mind distracting me, instead of acknowledging and letting it go, I hitch a ride to see where it'll go. And I follow a thought process that I mean, is schizophrenic in nature. I have gone from everywhere from an experience in 5th grade to my family budget to my kindergarten crush, and not Candy Crush, kindergarten crush. I had a crush on a little girl. She was very cute. Lots to wear red dresses and little red bows. Very cute. But I will just hitch a ride, a non-judgmental, accept and move on ride. And you never know where it's going to go. But eventually the ride stops. And that focus is what is called all rest. It's a non-active mind. 20 minutes is too much. 10 minutes isn't enough. 15 minutes is the sweet spot. I've done everything from 5-minute mindfulness to 45-minute mindfulness. And even when I'm using my little brain EEG thing that I wear sometimes, 15 minutes is my sweet spot. Yeah.
What are the benefits of guided meditation?
The benefits of guided meditation is being able to focus on someone's voice specifically and the visualization. They may walk you down a wooded path on your way to a beach, and they'll ask you in your mind's eye to acknowledge things that you see, the sunlight coming through the tops of the trees. That works for some people. I like it. On your handout, I've provided you some resources when I was doing this early on. YouTube, the meditation bells are fantastic. And if you have a really good set of speakers or a really nice set of comfortable headphones, use them. With the meditation bells, you will generally hear 4 tones in one bell. I like to challenge myself to listen to all 4 tones. If you literally type into YouTube mindfulness meditation, you'll receive thousands. If you really, really like this and you decide you want to go further down the rabbit hole, Glenn Harrold is unbelievably powerful. The first time I did him, I got so deep into the meditation I couldn't get out, which means to get out, I had to startle myself awake. Not something I recommend off the bat for the beginners, but he has guided meditations for sleep, waking up, depression, anxiety. The man is fantastic. For those of you that find yourself with what we call a perseverating thought, a thought that for some reason you can't let go, professional mental health. Sometimes people have to process that one thing before they can move on. In which case, I would definitely recommend mental health. There are group meditations. Meetup. There are meditation groups. There are also several groups on Facebook that do meditation together. Some people prefer to do it alone. Some people prefer to do it in groups. At the bottom is the disclaimer. The most important thing to remember is that there's no right way to combat anxiety. If you find that watching an episode on Netflix is your way to reduce anxiety, then do it. If you want to go for a run, do it. If you want to engage in 15 minutes of meditation between classes, do it. Standing, sitting, laying on your stomach or back, or standing on your head, all that matters is what works for you. Questions, concerns, gripes, moans, or complaints?
Go ahead. The meditation is really good, and it's something that, like even before the test, between classes, you can just take that couple minutes and just breathe through your stomach and focus on your breath, and just that little bit could help. So that's really good. It gives tools that you can use practically in a busy world.
And some of you might be 5-minute meditators. That's fine. Some of you might need 30. That's fine. The duration, play with it. The position, play with it. Your meditation practice is whatever works for you. And there's plenty of stuff that's not going to work, and there's even more stuff that will. If you want to try it standing on your head, go for it. I generally focus on the blood rushing to my head when I do that. Any other questions?